Hello to my friends at Dyersburg Primary School. My name is Vanessa Kane. I'm the Children's Director here at MacIver's Grant Public Library, and I decided to read you books today from the garden. It's a beautiful spring day, and your theme this week is Nature All Around Us, What's in the Sky. So I thought it'd be really nice just to read these books out here under the bright blue springtime sky. I hope you've been enjoying some time outside and that you've been enjoying your time at school since you're back from spring break. Our first book that we're going to read today is called It Looks Like Spilled Milk. It Looked Like Spilled Milk by Charles G. Shaw. Charles G. Shaw is the author, so he wrote the words, and he's the illustrator of this very unique book that we're going to talk about as we read it, okay? It was published by HarperCollins Publishers. It Looked Like Spilled Milk. And this book was written in 1947, and it's still just as wonderful today. I love that about children's books. All right, sometimes it looks like spilt milk, but it wasn't spilt milk. What does that look like? Does it look like he spilled some milk on a blue counter? What do you think that looks like, that picture? I like how both pages are such dark blue, and I like how the words are in white like the clouds. Isn't that really cool? I think that looks a little bit like I could make a person out of that, couldn't I? I see a head and some arms and some feet. Kind of a cartoony kind of person, but I could make a person out of that. Also maybe a flower. What do you think? Kind of an interesting flower in the garden. Sometimes it looked like a rabbit, but it wasn't a rabbit. That does look like a rabbit, doesn't it? But what else does it look like? What do you think it might be if it's not a rabbit and it looks like a rabbit? Let's see. Sometimes it looked like a bird, but it wasn't a bird. That does look like a bird, doesn't it? Sometimes it looked like a tree, but it wasn't a tree. This looked like a tree. It also looks like broccoli, doesn't it? Maybe it's broccoli. Do you think it's broccoli? Is it broccoli that we're talking about? Sometimes it looked like an ice cream cone, but it wasn't an ice cream cone. It does look like an ice cream cone, doesn't it? Sometimes it looked like a flower, but it wasn't a flower. Sometimes it looked like a pig, but it wasn't a pig. What do you think it could be that looks like all these things with the blue background and the white picture? What could it be? Sometimes it looked like a birthday cake, but it wasn't a birthday cake. What do you think it could be? Sometimes it looked like a sheep, but it wasn't a sheep. Sometimes it looked like a great horned owl, but it wasn't a great horned owl. That is so specific, isn't it? That does look like a great horned owl. Earlier they said bird, and that is a bird too, isn't it? But that is so specific what they think that one looks like. What do you think it could be? Sometimes it looked like a mitten, but it wasn't a mitten. Sometimes it looked like a squirrel, but it wasn't a squirrel. Sometimes it looked like an angel, but it wasn't an angel. Sometimes it looked like spilt milk, but it wasn't spilt milk. It was just a cloud in the sky. Have you ever done that? Have you ever laid on your back and looked up at the sky and made and pointed out the clouds and what they look like to you? I love doing that. That's one of my very favorite things to do when I was little and I was riding in the car when I didn't have to drive. And then maybe like when it was just a nice day like today and you could look up, I see some clouds behind me in the sky. So a fun thing to do with this book is then to turn it upside down. And let's look at those pictures again and see what they might be. Look at that. Still looks like a cloud. What else could that be? Let's do it upside down and see. What do you think? What about that? That's the angel, but what does it look like when it's upside down? Oh, looks kind of like a flower like they were talking about, or a leaf. What else could that be upside down like that? Looks almost like a W, doesn't it? Or a paw print. Yeah, it could be a paw print. What about this? What could that be if it wasn't upside down? It looks like a squirrel when it's the other way, but what could it be like that? I don't know. That one does look kind of unique, doesn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's a frog and that's his big tongue getting a fly. What do you think? What about the mitten? What could the mitten be upside down? It still looks like a mitten. What else could it be? What about the great horned owl upside down? I think now it really looks like a fire, like a campfire, doesn't it? What about the sheep? What does the sheep look like upside down? What do you think the birthday cake might be upside down? What about the pig? Pig be upside down. What I love about the clouds is you can just about always see an angel and you can just about always see a dragon, can't you? What about that? Oh, isn't that pretty? That I could see being an angel. That I could see being a dragon. What if you did it sideways? Oh, wow. Looks like he's flying, maybe. Maybe that this is the fire coming out of his mouth. Ooh, maybe. I don't know. I like that about clouds. What about this if it's upside down? That looks like a clown, doesn't it? There's his face and there's his clown hat. What about that upside down? Still looks a little bit like broccoli. About that. Ooh, that just looks like the bird's going in the other direction, doesn't it? Oh, and there's a rabbit upside down. What would you think the rabbit might be upside down? Kind of see it. I don't know. That one's kind of hard too, isn't it? Might be a fish. Might be a fish. See, there's his tummy. There's some of his fins, and there's his big face and his little fins at the top. Might be a little bird. Look at that. See, big feet, little beak, little tail. You could turn it around and find all kinds of things, couldn't you? And then there's that splotch that we saw at the beginning that I still think looks like a flower. So I want you this week to just go outside and look up at the sky and just try to find a picture in one of those clouds. And when you do, if you'll tell your teacher, she'll email Miss Vanessa and let me know what you saw. I really want to know. I hope you have a wonderful day and you enjoy looking at nature all around you up in the sky. Bye-bye.